This is where we left off. We currently have our bot set up here, right? Ali Chat. This thing at the moment is just going to join two rooms, mine and then its own room, and we can say, hello chat. And we'll be able to see that in fact Ali.chat is running. Ali.chat, however, is connected only to one account right here. So to correct for that, we have a couple of other pieces over here. We have an identity server, we have this MVC, and we have a resource server. So why don't we get our resource server started first. And then to stack on top, we're going to start the identity server so that both of these, all of these applications are going to be able to get tokens here. And then finally, we're also going to need to get our MVC sitting on top. And MVC represents our front end. So here, you can see that this looks pretty good for the web API, because when we jump on the Swagger here, you can see that we do get our providers. And if we hit it, it looks like it wants some kind of authorization that I currently don't have in it. But if you look over here, looks like that my identity server is running as well. So that's fine. And then when we log into this account, it's going to allow me to log in with my Twitch, I believe. And there we go. So the next thing that happens is that now I need to come over and register my Twitch accounts. So when I come over here, it's going to retrieve my users, and I have gotten 0 of them because there are 0 of them currently in the database. And remember, that's returning from the web API. When we click create, it wants to verify one more time who I am, because this time we're getting different authorizations, and we get our security codes, we get a callback. I believe everything here works the way we want. And what this wants is it has some callback here which is supposed to go to index Twitch. But I think we actually want to go to Ali Chat Twitch, right? And we do. So this needs to be a, let me make it so you can read this. You gotta go up to like 133. Area equals, let me see. We had one of these already created here in the MVC under my controllers where you have your auth. Where's my redirect? We're adding claims here, which I want to check. And then also when we're coming back, I'm not sure if we're retrieving the code because of these claims down here. We're going to double check on that. And then this needs to be a, how do we add an area? Just a second. So we need to action link with area ASP.NET MVC. That was close. New area name. And this one's called Ali Chat. Let's verify that that was working. Whoops, that started my identity server, but I wanted to start the other two as well. It's probably not going to now. I'm probably going to get a shared resource because I didn't do it in the other order. No, we're okay there. And waiting on that build. Oh, yep, in use by another process. So we got to stop it. We'll do one at a time. I don't think we need the identity server now. Pardon me. And then we also need to run the web API. Now And I should already be logged in for the most part, right? So let's check our logic one more time here. So the reason it can't find it is because I don't have this running. So it doesn't have a token. Give it another second. And here we are. So when we create the new one, it's going to add this state, right? We sign in, we redirect, we authorize, we get a response code, and then we get a response. And now I want to take a look because, hey, Legs Lit, thank you very much for that follow. I appreciate that. If you have any questions, please put them into the channel. Join us at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. That's the main way that everyone stays in communication. And also, all of these videos are up on the on YouTube if you want to go back and check them out without any audio, so you can see where we're at. I want to make sure that I'm getting my access token here, but I don't need the entire world to see, so just 1 second. We are in fact receiving a access token, which is awesome. And then I'm supposed to have signed in my user again, because I should have additional identities on it, and I'm checking to see if those claims are there. They are. And then I should redirect to my action. Okay, so one of the things that didn't happen is it didn't actually create this in the database. So we need to add in that logic. Let me just come over and verify that. Sounds good. Found you on Reddit a few weeks ago. Forgot to follow. No worries, man. Wonder what that was. I haven't really done any outreach on Reddit, so I wonder what that was all about. If I look here at tables and I look at my users Twitch, right? We should see currently this, and we don't. So let's make sure that this guy's in here, okay? So when this auth callback is happening, this actually also needs to call over to my web API. So when this happens, in my web API, I need to make sure I have a controller for Ali Chat called I need to make sure that I have a I need to make sure that I have a Twitch user controller here. One thing that I have in here is create Twitch user, and when this happens is get, I check to see if this one already exists, and then if it doesn't, I go ahead and I create it. When I create this user, I want to make sure that this user actually exists in the system, and that also by ID that they don't. So I need to double check in my data access layer service. When I look here, I'm looking to see if this currently exists in the database. But here you need to make sure that this is a valid user. So here you need to make sure that in your API when you're creating this, that you're checking to make sure that this user is an actual user from Twitch. And then you're inserting and you're saving them. So that means that that's ready to go. And we want to make sure then over here in my auth controller, in my web API, that's fine. When I'm calling my and after I'm returning to create this post, create callback. Just a second. Because that's going to redirect you. You're going to come back. You're going to create a callback here to a get. And then you need to check to see if this user exists. If not, then we want to check to see if they exist out on Twitch. If they do, then we want to create them right here. So create callback isn't ever being hit because when it's redirecting, it's coming to authorization callback. And then this goes to create callback. Now it doesn't have the object with it because it never actually created that Twitch user, correct? But we'll see if it does right now. Let's go ahead and run it. I want to come back up. We need to start the MVC. I think you posted your Twitch API for Unity. Oh wait, that wasn't you. No, instead of using, I use TwitchLib, and that's what we're implementing here. And then this is going to be a TCP WebSocket server that's going to be available as backend as a model, backend as a service model. Pardon me. Here we go. Let's see if this works. This should be the MVC. We need to re-expand this. I need to bring in the resource server and then also probably the identity server. Now if I look down here at Twitch, now I want to create a new. It's going to ask me to authorize. We know that this is fine. Now it's going to want to, do I have this? I'm going to check over here just for a second. I want to make sure that I have my claim. One more second. This user has a number of claims that look like this, and one of them includes the So I do not see that access token. Is this the one? Because I see two access tokens on here. I know that the one of them is a chat access token. So let me drop the claims. I want to bring this back. If I look back over here on the auth callback controller, this claim should be called Twitch chat. When I compare this back over to my account controller where I'm logging people in, here's sign in async, which is going to set my auth cookie. So we want to do that right here, I believe. I don't think it's this. I think because we're using forms authentication, I think it's this. And now, because we have this token here, I need to retrieve the token, right? I need to get the user. So I think I have something here called Twitch lib dot, and then it should be called Twitch API dot, and then we want to do a version 3, so it's a users dot, and then we have like version 5 dot get user async, and I think I can just pass in my auth token. This needs to be in a asynchronous task. I don't know what this problem is. And so now if my Twitch user does not equal to null, and my response.access code is not string, is empty or white space, then we want to set the auth cookie here. Now this is different because this is setting my authorization cookie of the username associated with this. So it should be a user.identity.username. We'll just say true for now. Else, we'll do something else here where we'll do a viewBag.message. And we'll say equals unable to retrieve access token. Hey there, Shadow. How are you doing? It's going pretty well. How are you? I'm hooking up, retrieving the tokens and the user information for chat, and we're storing that in the database, and then we'll be importing that into the chat this morning. Okay. And this should, at this point, set the auth cookie here, and then run my callback. If I stop this await is because it needs to stop and restart. So I should be able to stop right here. Check this again. Wait, there's a lot of pieces. You have to start your MVC. Let's make this your startup project. Then you have to start the web API, and then we have to start the identity server. Okay. So we're logged in. We come over to Twitch. Doing pretty good. Just working. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in Florida. A lot of people I know are, though, so I hope they're doing okay. All right, we authorize it. Now it says that your request was due. You do not have the right scope. So that means that this is where this is where we have a bad. It's hitting right here, I think, and that's where it's failing. Let's try it again. Yeah. So let me double check to make sure that we have this access token. We do. And the reason why that this one is not working is because I am using the wrong scope. So that means that this also needs to include in my controllers for my MVC controllers auth. We also want to request not OpenID but profile. Let's try it again. I hope they're doing okay, man. It sounds pretty bad. My dad is down there. He said it was okay where he was at. Then we need to start this resource server, and then also the identity server. Pretty soon we're going to just dump this identity server out there up on IIS. I just want to make sure that we're ready to go prior, that everything is working the way we want. When we kick in, now it should ask me for invalid scope request profile. So I need to look back here at my Twitch, and we want to look at the API scopes. Scope. Ugh. Here we go. Manage a user, read non-public information, check channel subscription, check channel, check feed, channel read, chat login, open ID, I don't need that. User read. Because the other option is, if I came back and I looked, I wonder if there's a different call I can make here. Get user by name. There's also get users by name, get user by ID, get user. So it is this one. So let's try it again. Hey there, Taxi Jimmy. Welcome to the channel. This is open bot. So essentially you'll be able to come on to Pixel Horror Studios or ally.chat, and you'll be able to register an account, either your account or a bot account. I think we'll do 2 to start, unless you're on the paid model, and then it'll be able to route those messages that you have, and your bot that you have can sit and message it, and channels that can come online, and then we'll start writing messages to you. And additionally, when you're streaming, they will be routed back out to however you want to set that up. And I have to set restrictions on that, I think. Additionally, this is going to do cross RSS communication. So this goes from, right now we have it set up for Discord and Twitch, and then we're going to be including additional RSS feeds in it. It's a backend as a service model so that you can create your own TCP or WebSocket stream, and then you can decide which messages you want to route, and then this thing can kind of act as your own backend server. Man, all I got out of college was console.writeline. Thank God I'm transferred because all of this looks complex. Yeah, fun. There's lots of different ways to program links, LIT. You might even be able to find programming language that works more for your skill set. What kind of do you find yourself being more passionate about? Yeah, I know you feel I'm kind of bored with some of my classes trying to figure out what to do. Hey, Taxi Jimmy, if you could, give me a follow. And if you want, all of these videos are up on YouTube, Live Dev Try, and you can check them out with that music from the beginning. I'm not sure. I think I already set up stuff, but I probably didn't. Let's see. Yeah, this thing needs to run, and this one needs to run, right? Oh. Maybe not. Okay. Obtain your email address, log in, and send messages. So now when I check it, and I run my Twitch users, this actually returned. It doesn't give me an error now, and then I am able to retrieve my information. Then we're going to set my cookie, and now I'm going to make sure that my claims are here. So under my locals, I want to look at this. I want to look at my user and my claims. I still don't see it. Well, I think it'll be okay. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So let's close that out. And so now we have received our user, and then we can, so this is saying that this response code that it got back from here Is this what failed? I missed what failed. We'll try it again. Does this thing not have a validate token? That's okay. There's the access token, and if that's string, then we're going to set it. We do. It's going to kick back. We get a resource. So this says that my client services get user Twitch is not currently working. So something's down. Let's run it again. I mean, they taught me Scratch and computing logic. I'm more passionate in C#, but I've been teaching myself it on and on. But then again, Java is always there after I learned CS. Java is like a simpler, toned down version, I believe. I don't do a lot of that, but just a tiny little things here and there. And I also use more ASP.NET than Node. We also want to launch the resource server and the identity server. Now when I come in here to Twitch, I should be able to register this. You probably want to sign out before you sign in again, huh? Or you probably want to make a new claims identity. You'll figure that out in a minute. And so this thing is failing here because it's saying that there is no Twitch username associated here. And that would make sense because it's not kicking back that token. So if I came back into my auth callback, this is creating a new claims identity with these claims in it. Now I should be able to do like forms authentication.signout or something, right? And then we should be able to set the auth cookie and then retrieve. So let's see if that works. I'm having a hard time getting these claims to stick again. Because I think you need to sign them in still, right? If you look back over here in your account controller, when you're signing in, you have two of these. And then this. So you want these two. So let's come back over here. Try this real quick. And then you should have something in here called a create, where you are in your account. No, it's in your startup. Here, you're adding these claims. And then you're making a ticket. So let's take this and see if I can recreate that over here. I'm going to pull this Twitch controller off for just a second. And what I want to do is, on your callback, when you're trying to relog them in here, your properties on this thing were, well, let's do this a different way. There's no need to do it this way. This is stupid. So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this and this. I'm just going to look real quick and see. Create a new authorization ticket, ASP.NET MVC after initial login. I agree, Lakeslit, that a degree just bluntly helps you get on a different pay scale than without, just objectively. Let's try this just for fun. I'm going to move this over just real quick. So here what we want to do is we're going to log them out, and then what we want to do is we want to create this new ticket. Which is going to have this overload, right? Does it have an overload, or do I have to create the new properties in it? I have to create the new properties in it. So your claims identity is ID, and then your properties here, which look like, because there's one overload in here, which is a dictionary. So we'll do this. So we can see what's inside of it, and we have a let me look back over here, because you should already have this in your account. I'm sorry, where you're logging in here. Your properties are in your current ticket, which are found in your identity. So you should be able to do something like a and then it's going to be a request.get on context.authentication dot. And now is this already a ticket? No, that's a manager. There's got to be something in here called a ticket. Just a second. Okay, so an easier way to do this is, we don't care about any of this. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to register this account right now. So the first thing that I want to do is we want to create the Twitch user, and then we want to create the account. So when I create this Twitch user up here, I should have a new constructor called auth callback controller, and this needs to pass in my iClient services, and I think it's called Alley Chat or something like that. And this has a private iClient services Alley Chat. Okay. That also probably means this needs an IBLL auth. And this means that this comes from a base controller. of my type client services alley chat, which means that this goes like this. I guess we're not using BLL auth in this one any longer. And this is a base of my client services alley chat. So now what we want to do is we want to go to var Twitch user, user from Twitch. Twitch user is going to be equal to await, and then it's going to be a client services dot get user Twitch. We should have them with the username and also with the user ID, I believe, right? No, just username apparently. So let's put another one in here. Get user Twitch by ID. We'll call this the Twitch user ID. And remember, this thing has an interface. The interface doesn't appear to have everything in it. So let me double check that. This interface needs to make sure it has this get Twitch user Twitch by ID. Get user Twitch async. So it's right here below. Okay. And we want this one, and it's going to be my user from twitch.id. Don't you have something in here like that? You have this name, you have a created bio email ID. This thing also needs to have my resource API URL. If my Twitch user is equal to null, then you want to create it. Twitch user equals await client services.create user Twitch. That's going to be this new request. And then also your resource server. Let's add this namespace. Then again, you can always write the next $1 million software. You never really know, to be honest. Right now, I'm writing a roadmap software because I'm tired of devs scamming people for high monthly fees. I guess it all depends on your own personal experiences with kind of what leads you to which projects it is that you're interested in. This one came to me because I wanted to use this within my own application. Worst hurricane hype ever. Hey, Patrick. Yeah, that's what my dad was saying, too. How did it go? Tell me about it. We were worried that it was going to be more sensationalized than it was. And then my username here is Twitch username. Sorry, this is a user from Twitch.username. That's a display name. In your user Twitch create request, you also need to have a prop string called my Twitch user ID. And that's going to be equal to my user from Twitch.user ID. If Twitch user is equal to null, then you want to return here, right? Then what we want to do is we want to create the Twitch account. So I should go to Twitch account equals await, and then it's my client services dot, and you should have a get Ali Chat account. So if I come back and I look here in my client services, this one says create Ali Chat account with an account create, which has a username, email, and password. We don't care about that one. Create user Twitch, and then also in our database we created one call. We have one provider that has a number of accounts. Boy, that's bad. Well, I guess not. And then this account is going to be routing this thing has a foreign key too. Huh. Routing up here, right? And this thing is going to have a provider that it's routed to. So let me look at this again in my models. Account Ali Chat has an account that it's attached to it, and then also a list of providers. A provider is going to have an account that it's attached to, a number of routing, and a number of routed. A routed means that it's going to be provider Twitch routed, which is going to have a number of channels in it, as well as this user Twitch. Okay, so when I look down here at my model, which is in my domain, Ali Chat, and we look here at my provider module, no, if we look here at my provider Twitch routed, you can see that we currently get one user Twitch ID here, which is a bot connected as. Okay, this will work just fine. So this is what I wanted. So then back over here, we're going to have to, in my client services, we need to have a new one here, which is called these four. And this is going to be called create provider Twitch routed. Async. And this thing is going to be a we're going to call this thing a provider Twitch routed request, create request. Okay, this thing is going to be a base request. And in it, we need to pass over what's in my provider Twitch routed. No, we want to do this one. And this is going to be a user ID, bot connect bot user ID, and then also it's going to be a number of string called my connected channels. But you don't start with that, right? That's in your update request. So let's create that. Provider Twitch routed create update request. That's also going to have the same bot user ID in it. Oh no, you want to do a prop GUID. Nope, it's a string in our case, and this is going to be a provider Twitch routed update request ID. Nope, provider Twitch routed ID. And then also we want to have a collection of strings, which are going to be called connected channels. And this is also going to be a base request of a public type. So this now is called a provider Twitch routed create request. And this one will be called a string, and we're going to say that this one is my provider Twitch routed ID. This one's going to be a create. I'm sorry, this one is an update. And these things are not user Twitch responses. These are going to be a provider Twitch routed response. And this is going to be a base response. And when we look down here at our view model, we have one user Twitch, which has a cascading number of channels, so I don't like this. We'll fix this. And a set of channels. So this is a public provider Twitch routed view model, provider Twitch routed. Chat, Twitch, lib. So this base response, this is in the wrong one. Provided Twitch routed response goes in here. And then the requests also go in here. Provider, and these two go in here. Let me just adjust these namespaces. Okay. So let's go ahead. These ones are ready in my interface. So now when I'm running this and I'm creating, my, here you're going to get this model. You have it provider Twitch routed async, right? And you currently have it set up with an ID. when I look at this, there should be another way to do it. Get providers Twitch routed from user. This one will be a user ID. And this one's going to be a user identity. Get user ID. And now, if my Twitch account is equal to null, then you want to Twitch account equals await client services dot create provider Twitch routed async. That's going to be a new one of these requests. And then also your resource. Twitch user.id. If the response code of this response is equal to this integer of my HTTP status code.ok. Twitch user response. And that's going to be this Twitch ID, right? No, it's just ID. Twitch user ID. No, I like the other way. Okay, and this is a toString, right? And that's it. And now we want to do a if my, and that's it, right? And then here you want to return here. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, it's not going to work because I didn't add the rest of the methods, did I? When you're also doing this, create Twitch provider routed async, this also needs to include a access token. Which also has a refresh token, I believe. We'll find out. We'll find out, I don't remember. And so here, we just need to kind of copy and paste this crap here from my create provider. This thing's going to map my request over to a this thing wants to pass in this view model. like this. Which means that up here in my initialize, we need to add in my 2 of these things. So for my provider routed, Twitch routed view model, we want this to go to a provider Twitch routed create request, and the same thing to a update request. This thing was a create provider Twitch routed. This was not a create. This is a view model. And now you're going to post this request, and you're going to receive a provider Twitch routed response at this request with this resource URL, and then we're going to, this needs to be an asynchronous method, make this a AliChat Twitch routed. We're going to copy and paste this one down here. This one will now be an update of my type request here. This is also an asynchronous method. This is a view model. It's not called update, it's called put. And this is an update. This thing needs to make sure that it's passing back the correct type of response. And then finally you have a get, which is much easier. It's just going to be this. Provider Twitch routed response. All you're going to pass in is your user ID, your resource server, and then this. And this needs to be asynchronous. This needs to be a string dot format here because you're concatenating your user ID. And this one up here was your provider Twitch routed ID. And then this one's going to be a provider Twitch routed ID, right? And then we need to do that as a string dot format. Okay, up here, you need to change these, right? Routed ID, user ID, resource. This one is a provider Twitch routed response. And this one is a view model. This needs to be a view model as well. Okay. So now that that's done, provider Twitch routed view model, different class. User Twitch view model is equal to my, where's user Twitch? User Twitch response by Twitch user response dot user Twitch. And then my channels are nothing, my ID is nothing, and my provider is going to be equal to. So now you need to get your Twitch provider here. And this is going to be called get provider async. It wants me to do this with a GUID. So if I come back over here and I look, you should be able to do this by string called provider ID or provider name. And this needs to be up here in the interface. Like that. And we want to get the one that's called Twitch, and my resource server is my if my provider does not equal to null, then you want to create this account, which is going to be a provider. Provider response dot response code is equal to my integer of my HTTP status code dot okay. So if my Twitch account now is not equal to null, then you want to do a viewBag.message equals could not create AliChat Twitch routed account. Else here message equals Twitch alley chat Twitch routed account already exists. And then you're going to redirect it. Now, we're going to have some problems because in my web API, you don't have any endpoints set up, so we need to set those up. Well, it looks like I might already have this. Create provider routed Twitch. Already me. I think this thing should already be a provider create request, right? Provider routed Twitch create request. Then you're going to get this bot. Then you want to get your provider ID, which is request.provider ID. Then you want to create your new but this is a create, right? So there is none of this. You're going to insert it and then save it. And so that means that now this has to be up in here. Create provider Twitch routed. Like that. Now we want to have this over on the web API. So that's here in the provider routed Twitch controller, and we should have something here called create routed Twitch. Get provider Twitch routed. We don't care about this one. Sorry. We want create routed Twitch. And this thing's going to be passing in my request. This is at routed inside of alley chat. So back over here now where I'm doing my create provider Twitch routed. Well, we'll get that in just a minute. The other one was you need to do your get routed Twitch. You have two of these, right? You don't want this one. It's in the providers, right? Here, you should have one of these that says get provider here. That has also a provider name. Hey there, Serializer. Welcome. How are you doing today? Welcome back. Else if my string dot is null or white space of my provider name, then what you want to do is a response dot provider equals await data access layer dot get provider asynchronous, and you should have one by name. If response dot provider does not equal to null, then you want to create this response and return it. Otherwise, you're going to do this bad request. I'm doing pretty well, just cranking through today, making some headway, which is nice. Let me see if we can format that a little better. Let's go ahead and drop it here, and let's see what happens. So we're going to run the MVC first. Oh, I think it's going to break because we changed our model. No, we just changed our view model to hold OAuth key. We also need to start our web API resource and then our identity. If you guys haven't, please click the follow. Check us out at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also, all the older videos are up on YouTube. If you want to check them out, there's no music so that you can hear everything. I think I have 2 of these running now, so let's try it again. Run the MVC. Then we're going to run the web API. And then we're going to run the identity server. When we load, we should be authed. We come over to Twitch. We create. It's going to authorize me. Okay, it's going to create a Twitch response here. Hey there, Tor2 guests. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. If you have any questions, please put them into the channel. We got a really active and supportive community. Thanks for checking out and hanging out with us today. So this one here, if this one is not null or is null, because the reason why this didn't work is it's trying to get my user at user ID Twitch user, and at my web API we have Twitch users controller, which is going to be ID or username is what you're passing, not get Twitch user. Hey there, Sam Job. Thank you for that follow as well. Appreciate that. Make sure you guys check us out at the YouTube as well, and please give me a follow there if you could. This is my username or ID here. Let's go ahead and give it another try. We'll run the MVC. No problem. Hey, if you could, let me send you the link to the YouTube. We've only recently started doing YouTube, so we're trying to get the custom URL. We need a couple more follows. There's that link. Okay. So I think I only launched the MVC, so let me launch the web API and then also the identity server. Whoops, I did it too slow. Actually, I'm just a couple of videos behind in the editing, so I got to make sure I jump on that pretty quick. Okay, let's give it a try. We create, we authorize, kicks. It wants to do my user by ID. It's going to return this user Twitch response from ID or username. It did not get anything, right? Bad request. So now if I look at this again, when I look over here at my create, in my provider Twitch users, I wanted to look at what happened when it did the get user. So let's run it again. Got you 2 subs on YouTube to speed it up. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. Okay, so here we want to get the Twitch by ID. Strange. Let's try it again. I have no idea what that was all about. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and, oops, wrong one. Bring it in. Do an admin Twitch. We register it. It authorizes it. I never saw it hit get user Twitch. When I look here at the web API, it tells me bad request, but I don't see it hitting my web API. It's unhappy with this. So if I brought in my web API here, can't I do something like from URI? And try it again. And then also the identity. Okay, it looks like now it's hitting. So I wonder if I can just run this MVC. I might need to run all three again. Looks good. Still nothing. Wait, what? I'm looking at this Twitch controller and this looks totally wrong. This is inside of the MVC. We don't care about that. We care about this one. ID or username. Oh. Let's try it again. We'll do the MVC first. Then we'll do the web API. Then we'll do the identity server. We take a look. Well, that's working. We create. We authorize. Because you're sending the user ID. Oh, that time it worked. So here you have this a little backwards. This isn't a user ID. This is an ID or Twitch user ID. And now this is going to be a get user Twitch by Twitch ID. Let's run it again. I went too slow. Let's try it again. Okay. Come over here, log in. Don't care. We connect, we register, we auth. I did not see it create anything again. So that worked. That created my user. Then we want to get the Twitch account, and since it's equal to null, we're going to get our provider. We got our provider here. It looks good. We have our provider here called Twitch. Now we're going to create our provider routed. Bad request. Okay, so here, or if my Twitch account dot response code does not equal my integer of my HTTP status code dot OK. This is called Twitch account response. Twitch provider routed. Okay. Then you're going to do your callback here to Ali Chat, which then will redirect you to your action of your Twitch in your new area called Ali Chat. So in the Web API, when you're looking at controllers for Twitch users, you were supposed to see it grab here, ID or Twitch user ID. So that would be that where you're calling this in your client services for get async. Not that one. This one. This one. Twitch user ID. Twitch user ID async. And then let's move this up here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's run it again. Oh, interesting. Let me clean the solution. We're going to run this again. This thing says I have a little bit of an error over here. Just a second. Just another second. All right, that should be better. Let's give that a try. We're going to run MVC. We're going to run the web API. And we're going to run the identity. Oh my God, so many warnings. I know. I gotta go fill this coffee up here in just a second. Let me do my Ali chat Twitch. All right, let's delete this one. I don't think we have delete set up yet, so I wonder if I have cascade set up. I probably don't. But we still have another issue, so we'll just stop this for right now. Our issue is that down here in our domain model for Ali Chat, under my Twitch user routed, this also needs to include a string called my OAuth token encrypt. That's fine. And now when I look back up here at the view model, we need to expose it. And now I should be able to add a migration. And we need to select my domain code first. And we're going to do an add migration. We're going to say inclusion of Twitch chat OAuth tokens. Now, that's fascinating. That did not include my Twitch routed. So when I look at the domain for code first, and I look down here at my Twitch routed, here it is. If I look back in here at provider Twitch routed, they definitely don't see OAuth tokens. So I'm going to delete these migrations in here. And I want to come out here and delete this database. We're going to go ahead and enable the migrations in this project again. We want to add a migration here. Called init. I want to make sure that we got this now. OAuth token. Update database. I'm going to go fill up my coffee just a second. All right, so got the database created. Let me make sure that, in fact, it is the way that we wanted. OAuth token. So now when I run this, when you are sending over your MVC in your controllers for your callback, when you're calling this right here, like that. Let's go ahead and give it a try. I know, I saw that too. Hey, Spicy Raffle King. Also making a website right now. You are? So you realize just need to walk the dog soonish. No problem. Let's go ahead and create a new, we authorize it. It's going to kick through. That worked. Then we want to get the provider, if it's okay. Provider says no, because you didn't make one. Because you forgot to, over here, create a new provider called, oh, come on. In your in your MVC, over in your views, over in your shared, in your layout. Aside, I'm sorry. You have a link that you put in here, these action links. And now on providers, what? This needs to go to return a view with my new provider view model. Yeah, using HTML and I suck at it. Oh, you can use templates. That helps a lot if you're doing your own HTML work. That's 1. This is 2. And 3. Okay, so our code will be 100, and we'll say that this one is called Twitch. Now when we come over here to Twitch, I wonder if I can delete that. Twitch users. Well, I don't think it matters at this point, so let me see. Okay, we're going to get the provider. That looks right. Then we're going to create this. It says the model state is invalid. Let me see what is the problem here. Just a second. Interesting. So it never created this create Twitch. It never received this correct create provider Twitch routed, because on the web API side, it wants this create request, not this view model. And then also in this thing, you need this to have a OAuth token. And this should be a data type called myDataType.password. And then this one needs to be a OAuth token needs to be my response.access token. When you look at this, let's come back over here. I want to try that one more time. Here we go. Should make a script to run the applications and put it in the post build. You mean how I'm running them all three at one time? Well, mostly I should dump those over on the IIS. I'm going to need to encrypt these tokens. I think I'm going to use RSA encryption. And I don't really need to hold them on, to stick them onto your claims, I don't think. Because SignalR is going to be managing it on my behalf. Here we go. So you can just compile that, it runs the applications. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's see if it works. It was. That worked. Okay, the request here. I'm going to take a look over here because I don't want to show the token. It's not encrypted at this time. But it did not get my bot user ID, which is fascinating. So this bot user ID is going to be this user twitch.id. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but can I do this up here? So for my member bot user ID, we want to map from u.twitchuser.id.toString. Okay. One more try. If you guys haven't yet, please click the follow. Check us out at discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com, and all the legacy videos are up on the internet if you feel like going and checking those out. They're up on Facebook. I'm sorry, on YouTube. Facebook. I'm old. And let's do the identity server. All right, let me see what happened there. That worked exactly the way we wanted. Now it's going to request it out. we got something back. I got back a bad request. This is doing this Twitch routed create request. So then back over on the web API under your, this one, when you're looking at your create, routed with this type of request. We never even saw it hit. Alrighty, see you later there. Let me just do one final check when I look at this without a token and my identity server. I want this to go to my Swagger, right? Sure is taking a long time. I thought it was held up somewhere. And now if we look here at my routed, it does hit. So there's a problem with where it's posting. But unfortunately, we are out of time for today. So we will be back tomorrow at 5:30. If you haven't, please click the follow. We're also, all the older videos are up on YouTube, so make sure you check the channel. If you could click the follow there as well. Right, we don't have a custom link yet. I think we're like 30 away from that. So until tomorrow, guys, I hope everybody has a good evening. Have a good one.